Hi everyone, my name is Mila. Something happened after which all popular boys at school fell in love with me, all at once. Although recently, they love to mock me, say mean things and push me around. What happened, you ask? Sit back and I'll tell you. Our school, like many others, has its own rules and regulations. Likewise, everyone has their own place. We have popular boys, girls, and there are people like me, just the epicenter of bullying and pranks. I had no idea why this happened. Of course, my family is not that rich, but we are not poor either. But as soon as I moved into high school, the contingents of classmates fell into categories. I ended up in the lowest one. Our popular boys loved the bullying rituals the most. I went through all the circles. At first, it was more or less harmless. Pushing in the halls, having things stolen from my locker, girls throwing my stuff out of the locker room, and me having to find it all over school half-dressed. Everybody was laughing, taking pictures with their phones, making general disruption. I was ready to fall through the ground. I really wanted to leave school, and I brought it up with my parents more than once, though without going into detail. They thought it was just a momentary emotion talking, and I didn't want them to go to school for a showdown. Then I would have been even more bullied. And then I got lucky. They quickly forgot about me, because one day, a classmate of ours, Billy, came into our school. He was one of the outsiders too. Billy came into the classroom and sat down at the table. And then we got a strange, stinky smell. It turned out that he had cat shit on his sweater. He put it on and didn't even notice. He was immediately ridiculed, and he ran out of class and didn't come to class that day. It definitely deflected attention away from me, and I sighed. The biggest show-off, Alan, immediately made a whole video of Billy getting laughed at. I hated him more than anything. He was in charge of his nasty company and the instigator of a lot of school kids' problems. I didn't understand where he got his aggression and why he was acting like that, but I certainly knew that I would never mess with him. I wish he was in the same situation as me and Billy, I always said to myself. When my words came through, a star fell from the sky. Do you think people like him will really get it all back? A voice asked me from behind. Billy, what are you doing here? I thought I was the only one who liked coming here, I told him. And it turned out that I wasn't the only one who knew about the secluded spot in the stadium at our school. I often went there to be quiet and to think about things on my own. Billy used to go there too. He said Alan was already ruining his life. They'd been best friends in elementary school, but that changed when they got older. Billy had said then that it didn't matter if you were rich or poor to kids. And when Alan grew up, he became violent. I know he has a tough situation at home, Billy told me. I meant that Alan had a complicated relationship with his father. He often punishes him because he drinks. Even though they're rich, there is no happiness in the family. Isn't that awful? And then it hit me. What if we could find out his weak spot and get revenge for us, for all the damaged reputations? Billy didn't agree at first, afraid of the consequences. But how could the situation be any worse than ours? So, we decided to sneak over to Alan's house to film something epic. After arranging a meeting, we went to the Major's house. It was already evening, and I told my parents I'd be staying up late at my friend Anne's house. We armed ourselves with Billy's dad's camera, and we went to Alan's house. Admittedly, we didn't expect the gate to be so high, and we had a hard time climbing over it. Somehow, we got to the house and noticed the light in Alan's window. His room was on the second floor, and there was a huge tree growing on the right beside it. It didn't take long for us to climb the tree, then nestled comfortably on a branch. We turned on the camera and froze in anticipation. At first, it was funny. Alan was spinning around with his naked torso in front of the mirror, looking at himself, admiring, taking selfies. We could hardly contain our laughter. And then his father came into his room. It was clear he wasn't sober. He grabbed Alan's arm and took his phone away. And then he started screaming. From behind the Azure window, we could hear his father calling him a talentless, stupid laughingstock, then slapping him in the face. I was so scared that I almost fell out of the tree. I didn't think things were that bad. Billy and I left, barely speaking the whole way. I still had the tape, and I didn't know what to do with it yet. The next day, Alan came to school like nothing happened, and then he found another teenager and started bullying him. Only then I realized that he was just confronting himself, self-asserting himself, looking for someone he thought was weaker, and that this was comforting him. Suddenly, I felt sorry for him. I don't know why, but I went to see him the next day, borrowing Billy's camera again. I filmed every night, watching Alan. His father had treated him horribly, and the anger in Alan was growing even more. His father beat him, humiliated him, insulted him. I filmed every quarrel and kept it for myself. A couple of weeks later, Alan came to school again. He was even more depressed than ever. Suddenly, his father's silhouette appeared behind him, and they went to the principal's office. I snuck in unnoticed and overheard the conversation. Alan's father was screaming like a madman that his son was a disgrace to the family, that he couldn't even do well in school. The principal tried to calm the man down, but he got a kick out of it too. "I spend so much money on his education, and what good is it?" yelled Alan's dad. Then they went out into the hallway, and Alan's father was almost out of the school. The major said to himself, "Fuck you." And he heard everything. He ran up to his son, swung his fist. I couldn't just stand there and watch. It just happened on its own. I ran up and caught my fist and pushed him aside. Alan's father was furious. "Who the hell is that?" A crowd of students gathered around us. Alan told me to leave, but I was standing next to him. Then he swung his fist again and wanted to hit me, but Alan caught his father's hand and shoved him. He turned red with anger. Then he told me he was going to be in trouble at home. Alan and I went outside, and he thanked me, but he said I shouldn't have done it. "I know everything. I know he's hurting you. You can't take it anymore. It's time to act," I told him. But Alan said his mother was afraid of his father, and no one would believe him because Daddy had big connections and money. "I have proof. We can threaten the police that we'll release the tapes if they keep quiet," I said. At first, Alan was angry that I was filming him, but then he realized he deserved it. "Why are you helping me?" he asked, and I didn't know what to say and just shrugged. Anyway, in the evening I got a copy of the notes and we went together to Alan's house. There, my father was waiting for him already drunk. Mother was crying, sitting on the couch. Mr. Bolton almost choked at the sight of me and started calling me names. But Alan interceded, telling him not to touch me. "And what are you going to do to me? You're nothing without my money," he yelled. Then I showed him the video and told him that I would show it to the police, and then I would leak it onto the net, and he would be in big trouble for child abuse. The big man tried to take them away from me, but Alan interceded again. He was furious, but he went back to his room. That way, we managed to shut him up, and he hasn't come near Alan since. Our relationship with the major had improved too. He called me brave-hearted. Word spread around the school about my heroism, and all of Alan's friends started treating me with respect. Some of them even asked me out on dates. Alan apologized to Billy, and they became friends again. And now, we had our own friend group. Alan, Billy, and me. After that story, I realized there was nothing better than feeling safe in the house. Mr. Bolton is taking a course for those who want to quit drinking and get treatment from a psychologist. His wife is helping him with that. All in all, everyone got what they wanted. Well, almost what they wanted. The end of the story was even better than I could have imagined. Have you ever been in a similar situation? If you liked the video, then please leave a like and comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe.